Hi, my name is Katie Mulvaney, and I'm a second-year master's student in the Technology and Policy program here at MIT. And the session that I'm going to be leading is on international climate governance and how it relates down to the local level to climate action. And in particular, the Paris Climate Agreement, which met at the Conference of Parties, the 21st Conference of Parties back in December. And the way that we're going to take a look at that is we're going to be doing a mock climate negotiation, and the participants are going to be split up into groups in their hangout sessions, and they're going to represent a different party that's negotiating on the climate negotiation. And we'll be using a computer model and sort of mock negotiation interface called the WorldClimate activity, and it was developed by Climate Interactive. Then after we go through the mock climate negotiation and all the countries give me their pledges, then we'll plug in those pledges into the computer model, and that'll tell us how close that gets us to the 2 degrees Celsius goal for the Paris Climate Agreement. The second part of the session, we're going to be talking about the political feasibility of an international climate agreement in your home countries. So in each of the Hangout session groups, I'm going to be asking people to talk about what the barriers are to political feasibility, such as who are the people, the government organizations, and the interest groups that are not so excited about climate action. And we're going to discuss why exactly that's so on a political level, maybe even a scientific level, if the other side has some science to back up their claims. And then perhaps even on an emotional level, like where that comes from the root of the viewpoint of the other side. I have led and participated in the World Climate activity before in one of my classes here at MIT. And then last January, I helped out with an independent activities period class during the month of January at MIT. And that was an introduction to climate science and policy class. And we ran the World Climate activity with about 10 other people. And it was successful. We got some pretty good feedback from people that played it in person. They said that they got a better understanding for what the different interests are of each country, whether they're developed or developing, whether they are threatened by sea level rise if they're a small island nation. So it just sort of broadens your understanding of what's at play on the international level. And as far as the discussions on political feasibility go, political feasibility is kind of part of what I study in the technology and policy program, and I'm interested to bring it to this wider audience and see what political feasibility means in some other countries. I'm going to be posting my session of the independent activities period class that was recorded back in January, and that will sort of give you some background on sort of like the theory behind international climate governance and the history of it, and then also what happened at COP21 last December with the Paris Agreement. And also I'll put up a lot of background information and reading material that participants will need to go through for that World Climate activity. So I guess I'll start a little bit with my professional experience. So after I finished up my engineering science degree at Penn State for undergrad, I went and worked at a technical consulting firm as a mechanical engineer. And I was working mostly in the nuclear industry. And I sort of was coming up in that part of my career when Fukushima happened, and also when natural gas prices were dropping and a lot of nuclear plants around the country were starting to close, and projects for new plants were coming to a halt. So I decided that I wanted to learn more about these economic and political aspects that affect the decision about what our energy mix is as a country. And that brought me here to MIT in the Technology and Policy program. And now in my research, I'm sort of taking a bigger picture view than just one technology. I'm studying climate policy in China and how it affects some of their environmental goals under some international treaties like the Minamata Convention on Mercury. And then I'm also studying how climate policy affects their sustainable development goals. I'd just like to say that I'm looking forward to bringing some of these frameworks that I'm learning in class with the technology and policy program to a wider audience, and learning about especially political feasibility of climate action in other countries, and what form that takes. So I'm excited to be a part of ClimateX.